Welcome to the show. I can't wait for you to like it. What you may not yet know is you won't be able to deny it. It's so good, it's so new, nothing short of life-changing. So welcome to a show that you'll say was amazing. Hi everyone, I'm Liv Rocklin, and I'll be in charge of the next hour of your life, which is exactly how I like it. You'll laugh when I've planned, and you'll cry when I think you should. Your perspective will expand, just like I knew it would. And the best part for me is you won't say a word at all. You'll just laugh and cry and clap, and then I'll leave for Montreal. So welcome to a show, I can't wait for you to love it. And the best part I know is I have full control of it. It's so planned, it's so perfect, not a single note out of place. So welcome to the show, now put a smile on your face. Such beautiful smiles. So unexpected. I've had a 5-year plan every year since I was 5. That is how I've managed to survive. God laughs at best laid plans, but damn, he's scared of mine. I put this show on his schedule. We share a G-Cal and a mind. And the best part of this all is that I'm up here all alone. No one to mess up my plans or know things that I don't. So sit back and relax, because your life's about to change. Keep your arms and legs inside the ride and eyes glued to the stage. Welcome to the show. It'll be your favorite, you should know, but I can't explain it. It's so honest, it's so raw, and it's all up to me. So welcome to the show. Clap your hands in 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, stop. Please stop. Okay, good. We're listening, crowd. I'm glad. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Caveat. Feel free anytime in the show. We've got wonderful house staff walking around. Grab another drink. It's going to help me more than it's going to help you. You also might have noticed that there's only beer and wine on the menu. That is because we are across the street from a synagogue. May peace be with you. But I do think we're going to need God more than booze, so I think we'll be okay. But thank you all. This is my show. It's called C'est la vie. Thank you. It's a bilingual show. That was the bilingual part. C'est la vie. That's life in French. You're welcome. It's a very French thing to say. That's life, right? We wouldn't say that in America, right? Because in America, it's like, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you fall down 4 times, get back up 97, right? They go low, we go high. In France, it's more like, they go low, we go to a 4-hour lunch on a Wednesday. C'est la vie. Sorry also if my energy is low. I am just like so jet lagged from when I studied abroad in college 4 years ago. So hard. I studied abroad in Paris, France. Anyone here know it? Just me? That's fine. God, I love crowd work. So I think what drew me to Paris was that they have this sort of je ne sais quoi, you know? They even coined that phrase, right? They're so relaxed and chill and laid back, and something about me is that I am equally chill. There's a fucking tech queue here? Thank you. That's me, the last time I chilled. That was also fake when I yelled, don't worry. It's theater. But I planned to study abroad in Paris when I was 12 years old because I have, comment dit-on, OCD, which is obvious from that whole thing. I have OCD because I have Tourette's. This whole show is a tick. I have no idea what I'm saying. Basically, girls born with Tourette's will also have OCD. It's like a BOGO deal. It's also my America's Got Talent sob story. But that means that I plan a lot of things in advance. Like when my brother had his bar mitzvah. Okay, 3rd language. That was crazy. The party planner was over, and I was 8 years old, but I heard her talking about the different themes, right? And she mentioned a pajama party theme, and I was like, wait, that's perfect, because then I don't have to change after. And 5 years later, we did that. The sub-theme was live, laugh, love, and I would do it again. And I have no regrets about that. But 8 years after I decided to study abroad in Paris, I did. I got there, and a parade of French poodles greeted me, right? The ghost of King Louis was like, welcome, we have been expecting you. You're the French Jewish Messiah. No, that didn't happen. The French hate the Jews. It's okay, you can laugh. It won't change what happened. Which time? So there was one night I was at a bar in Paris, and this guy came up to me, and he was like, are you Italian? Because I'm so sun-kissed. I don't know why you're laughing. And I was like, no. And he was like, are you Jewish? And I was like, buongiorno, je suis italiano. Fourth language. Is any of the show in English? Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's just so crazy, that's insane. But, you know, I think what really drew me to France was that they live this sort of beautiful, relaxed life, as long as they're upper middle class and white. Sort of like here. So, you know, I was just ready to get there and to just truly relax. But relaxing is actually very difficult for me. It's very stressful. It's a very stressful thing for me to do. I actually downloaded a meditation app a few weeks ago, and it was like, breathe. And I was like, breathe? What do you mean breathe? Have I not been breathing this whole time? Jesus fucking Christ. So when I got there, I went a little, how do they say it in French? Coucou? I needed a goal. I wanted to win study abroad. And I know what you're thinking. You can't win study abroad. And yeah, you can't, but I win everything. I've been trying to win therapy for the last 10 years, which is sort of like losing a game of basketball against yourself that you're also paying for, and you're also the ball. My mom is a therapist, which might be surprising based on how I turned out, but she is. So it gives me a home field advantage, right? It's perfect. So I keep a lot of secrets from my therapist, use them as Q4 plays. Right at the end of a session, therapist thinks they've won, buzzer's running out, and I'm like, also, I had a dream last night that I killed my whole family. See you next week, loser. So what can I say? How do I win study abroad? How do I have the best trip abroad since the Queen's 1954 tour of Australia? How do I colonize a whole country? It's okay, it's France, they already, okay. It's what goes around, okay. And when I was 3, I watched the Lizzie McGuire documentary, movie. It follows 14-year-old Lizzie McGuire on her 8th grade field trip to Rome, Italy, right? And they're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. I don't know where their chaperones are. When I had an 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C., we were never left alone. Not even on that street where like the Supreme Court and the Capitol building are, which is probably like the most secure street in the country, except that one time. But Lizzie, sex icon that she is, catches the eye of Italian superstar singer named Paolo, who rides a Vespa. And she and Paolo have this whole whirlwind romance. He's much older than her, but we don't talk about that. And they have this whole whirlwind romance Vesping around Italy. And the end doesn't really matter. You could just watch the movie. It's like a classic foreign film. But when I watched that at 3, I said, that's going to be me. So when I got to Paris, I started talking to this guy, and he asked me if I wanted to go get a drink that night. So I met him by the Bastille. But he walked me into this super dingy pizza shop. And just, if I wanted to go to a rat-infested pizza shop, I just would have stayed in New York, greatest city in the world. So, but we walk in, and you know, he's Paolo, I'm Lizzie, I'm committed to this bit, so I follow him in. But he walks up to this unmarked door, which is always good. And he turns around and he says, this is gonna seem weird, but I promise I'm not gonna kill you. And he opens the door, and it's a meat locker. Now, I had only dated American men, so I didn't know this move. But it just seemed like more of an inside thought, right? It just seemed weird to say out loud. So behind him, there's a pig, a dead pig hanging down. Oink, oink, wee, wee, right? There's like a rope. We're surrounded by freezers, okay? And, I'm staring at him, and I'm just thinking to myself, what would Lizzie McGuire do? WWLMD. So, the other thing is, I did it for the bit. Because who's going to make a podcast about a woman that lived? Bonjour, maintenant. That means hey now in French. Bonjour, maintenant. She wears one of these. When I was 3, I watched the Lizzie McGuire movie. This isn't real. This one's real. It's theater. And I knew that one day I'd ride on a Vespa. In a foreign romance, I'd have the chance. I'd get a green card and never leave France. Disney had written the script and I'd live the rest. I was 20 and ready to be 14 again. So when I got to Paris, I opened Le Tinder. That's French for Tinder. To find a Frenchman for the rest of my days, or until June when the semester ended. He could be a Pierre, or a Cloud, or a Pierre, probably a Pierre. And within a day, I had a date. I was ready for my Lizzie McGuire moment. Hillary Duff never stood a chance. Lizzie McGuire moment. The townspeople did a synchronized dance. We met the rat from Ratatouille. Said bonjour to King Louis. This was my Lizzie McGuire moment. Louis was like, bring the monarchy back. And I was like, sorry, we're busy dating. So we ate croissants along the Seine. That's a river. And we said, oui, ha, ha, cigarette. That means cigarette. Everything's just like the movie. But he wasn't an international pop star, and I didn't out him for using autotune and then sing a duet with my doppelganger on top of the Arc de Triomphe. We just went to the zoo. But that was fun also. And with him by my side, we bring the monarchy back. Louis was right. Because I was his queen and he had lost his head. Just kidding, European men aren't circumcised. Lizzie McGuire moment. My mom said I shouldn't date abroad. Lizzie McGuire moment. Another French word is facade. I never imagined this. Now I know why it's called a French kiss. This was my Lizzie McGuire moment. Because they're French. And their tongue. Okay. And I start to panic. How do I do this? And the movie's like a 4-minute montage. They don't really give a step-by-step. How do I let someone new? And I'm emotionally unavailable in America, and it seems to work fine. Across the world, from the frogs I had kissed, all along waiting for a French prince behind a meat locker. Love exists. I actually generally don't recommend following men into meat lockers. Don't let that be the takeaway of this show. Key change! Lizzie McGuire moment. We shared a baguette like Lady and the Tramp in our Lizzie McGuire moment. I met my Gordo, but he wasn't a minor. I love Lizzie now, I can be her. Except I'm not an outfit repeater. This was my Lizzie McGuire moment. democracy, okay? Bonjour, maintenant, now you. Stop, the accent's bad. Stop, listen. Bonjour, maintenant. Try it again, better this time. No, stop, please stop, just listen. You should just listen, I promise. Bonjour, maintenant. Don't try. Okay. Listen. It's all about diction. You get like a B. Let's call him Pierre, because his real name wasn't French and it ruins the whole thing. So behind Pierre in this meat locker is another door. Paris, city of doors. And he walks through that door and we're in a speakeasy. Like a real speakeasy. Like people are drinking whiskey neat and smoking cigarettes and we just know that the Cold War could kill us all at any moment. And we stayed in that speakeasy until like 3 a.m. And I got really lucky. One, because it's always lucky when a straight man doesn't kill you. And two, because Pierre wound up being a really nice guy, and I kept seeing Pierre, even though he didn't have a Vespa. Wow. And everything was sort of starting to fall into place, right? This dream that I wanted for so bad, for so long, so bad, was finally coming true, and I was finally winning, and then, well, so then I got an email, and I got that email on March 10th, 2020. You all want to leave. You're like, oh God, one of these fucking shows. But I don't know if any of you had email. So you probably didn't even hear about this. It said that I had to go home from Paris because there was a global pandemic happening to me. It was called COVID-19, the age I had been a year before. And when I got back to Chicago, everyone in their yards, they had all these signs up and they all said, "We're all in this together." And I was like, wow, people are really rallying behind me. So yeah, I got an email in March of 2020 that derailed my whole life. And the worst part is, no one in this room understands what that's like. No. I know that in the grand scheme of COVID, this doesn't matter, right? I got it. There won't be an asterisk next to COVID-19 in the history books that's like, footnote, Liv Rocklin was actually studying abroad during this time. Got it. It's just that it mattered to me because when I was 10, I saw a magnet on a fridge that said, "Believing in yourself is the key to success." And I was like, sick. Probably don't have to expand on that perspective. I always thought I had control. At 16, I was booking parking in advance of having a license. And I think that all 20-somethings learn this lesson that you don't have control, but most of them don't have to learn that lesson when there is a global pandemic going on and no one has control to give them the stability to learn that lesson in. COVID also didn't come out of nowhere for me. The anxiety around it had been building for a few weeks, really. I even went to go see the therapist at NYU Paris. I definitely won against her. She was a bad therapist. It was NYU, she was a D3 therapist, but she was very laissez-faire, and I was like, no, life isn't fair. You're not, écoutez, listen. But I was trying to tell her that this anxiety had been building up, and it was building up, and I never been this anxious in my entire life, and I was just so scared that whenever the bad thing happened, whatever it was, the crash was gonna be like fatal. And I just have never felt as lonely as I did in those 6 weeks in Paris, even though I did not spend a second by myself. Because by all measurable accounts, I was winning study abroad. I had found Paolo, right? We were gazing up at the French stars. We don't have those in America. I was eating French aphrodisiacs like escargot, except I can be kosher, so I wasn't, but I learned the word escargot. I was calling myself by his name. I also went by Pierre while I was in France. We were star-crossed lovers, ripped apart by fate when COVID happened, and we never knew what could have been. Sort of. There was one night I was walking with Pierre in Paris, and this was sort of after I realized like really how much I liked him. And I just remember walking next to him and just thinking like, why is he walking like that? Why is he breathing so loud? Why is he breathing at all? And at the end of the night, he had his arm around me, and he kept just saying, you're amazing, you're amazing. And all I could think to myself was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Which was messed up, because he had promised not to kill me. That was like his main promise. So I ended it that night. Ended it, not ended him. Sorry, just wanted to clarify that for the record, allegedly. Okay. I ended it because I didn't know how to control it, so I just wanted it to stop, even though I didn't. I told him it was because I didn't want to fall for someone and then have to leave in June, but that was bullshit. Lizzie was only in Rome for 4 days, okay? Lizzie, why don't you try sticking around long enough to realize he walks with an angle when he's enjoying his time too much with you to notice? Idiot. No, I just thought that it was safer to be alone, which I knew how to do, than to be like heartbroken, which I was anyway. Like you are now. Because you just realized this is one of those solo shows, and we're not just gonna giggle. But I'm also not gonna get naked. It's not one of those solo shows. I'm sorry if you're disappointed. I don't remember much about leaving Paris, mostly because I dissolved a Benadryl into one of those airplane bottles of wine. I remember on the Uber ride to the airport, I could understand for the first time the radio in French. Not that it matters anymore, because French is a dead language now. So sad. I don't remember the flights. I don't really remember the airport. I remember there was an American Airlines flight attendant who kind of saw the state of me, and she was like, how old are you? And I said 20, and she said, happy 21st birthday, and gave me a glass of wine. That's my COVID hero. In a medical journal that I read, in a TikTok that I saw, those are so easy to get confused, it said that with trauma and with PTSD, there are repaired and unrepaired ruptures. And a rupture point is sort of like the point of no return, right? Like your fourth shot of tequila. And I think my rupture point in all of this was I was walking between my connecting flights. I was going Paris to Chicago through London. And I just remember walking in Heathrow Airport and just leaving my body, just totally leaving my body, and just staring down at myself and just trying to scream, like, why are you walking? Why are you leaving? Why aren't you kicking and screaming in Paris? And I don't think I wanted more time in Paris. I think I just didn't want to lose control and disappoint my 12-year-old self. She was very scary. Most middle school girls are. But even kind of in all of that, I was like, well, I should get some snacks for the plane. So I did, and I didn't wind up eating this bag of pre-sliced apples because I was too busy making the pandemic about myself. But I got to Chicago, and I was going through customs, and really if there's one takeaway I want you all to take from this show, lie to customs. Just lie to customs. It just never matters. It just doesn't matter. Because I get to customs and they were like, did you bring any produce from another country? And I was like, I brought this bag of pre-sliced apples. And suddenly I'm in like a back room and they're swabbing the apples. They're like running the apples through tests. I was like, you can have them, blow them up, shoot them. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, I don't need the apples. They're like, no, this is protocol. And I was like, no, so sorry, I don't think I'm being clear. My entire life just crumbled in on itself. I don't give a fuck about the apples. And those apples brought the first case of COVID-19 to North America. Mysterious ways. So I get back to suburbia, where I had to do my time. And there was one night, I was like on the floor just crying to my mom, just saying like, I can't do this anymore. I can't miss more of my youth. I can't keep being at home. I cannot watch another episode of Too Hot to Handle. Just don't have sex. Just don't have sex. Okay. Just don't. crazy show. And she said, it's only been 6 weeks. 6 weeks is not that long, Olivia. She knows my full name because she's my mom. 6 weeks is how long I was in Paris. 6 weeks feels longer when 4 years of college lost is a quarter of your life. That's right. There's math in this show. 5 languages. You get to be young once, right? You get to go to college once, if at all. I'm sorry, you get to be 55 like 4 times. Okay? We're not all in this together. Okay? There was a long time where I had spent more of my adulthood in quarantine than not. And there was one night, we were having one of our COVID family dinners, and my mom said we should all go around the table and say what we miss most from before the pandemic, which is sort of like dangling chocolate in front of a puppy and then shooting it. And it got to me, and I didn't want to answer because I don't hate myself. And my mom goes, was it Starbucks? I bet it was Starbucks, which is crazy because I only drink local, but you know, we're all in this together, going through my head, and my brother said, well, it's probably Paris. When everything did go to shit in March of 2020, and I was right, like usual, I was so pissed. And I was pissed at Paris because I came in with the perfect plan. And I executed it perfectly, whether I wanted to or not. So I didn't mess it up. So it must have been Paris, right? I didn't even watch Emily in Paris, and everyone was watching Emily in Paris. I was like, that was supposed to be Liv Rocklin in Paris, and that got canceled. And I'm still mad at Paris, right? Because it hasn't called to apologize. No, what's it doing? What's it so busy doing? It's busy being Paris, this beautiful place that so many people dream of going. Spoiler, if you have a dream of going to Paris, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I had the perfect dream. I had the winning dream, and it still fucked me over. Napoleon has risen and fallen in the time that I've hated Paris. Don't fact check that. And then just 3 years later, which is not even 4 rotations of the Earth around the sun, my brother says that he and his girlfriend are going to go live in Paris for 6 weeks. I went to a rage room where you pay to break things. I broke 3 printers. They only give you 1 printer, but I broke the first one. I really liked it because I shattered the glass on the copier machine part of it, and it went everywhere. And then I kind of opened up the copier tray, and I kind of hit it with a baseball bat and went across the room. And that felt really good. So I walked out, and I was like, hey, can I have another printer? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Just order off the a la carte menu. And I was like, a la carte, that's in French. So I ordered 2. I never want to talk about Paris again. And I just think that if you care about me, you won't talk about Paris again either. I mean, we're all in this together, right? I kind of want to bomb the Eiffel Tower, but not in a terrorist way. Also, I'm a white woman. It would just be seen as a mental health tragedy. I kind of think world peace would finally flower if France weren't here another day. It's not that I hate the French, though a lot of people hate the French. It's just that if I don't get Paris, then it not existing in the future or the past is Ferris. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. If I didn't get to stay, then no one else should have the chance. I don't want to hear about your crepes and croissants from when you were in Paris and I was not. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. Tourism in Wyoming is down. Let's refocus. I wish people didn't speak French in the West Village. I'm against cigarettes, but just because they smell like France, I don't mind the health concerns. No one can eat bread, cause it might be a baguette, and charades is done, cause it's sorta like a mime. France is just a country, it's easy to forget. Also, what's up with French bulldogs? Why can't they breathe? Is it because the French hate dogs? Is it because the French want to kill all dogs? That's messed up. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. The worst part is I don't even want to go back, but no one else should. I think it should just turn to rubble after causing me so much trouble. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. And we're all switching to tequila because the French drink wine. Wine's done now. Fuck grapes. Go to Rome, go to Athens, they're both swell. Go to London, go to Prague, go to hell. This isn't the best side of me, but I don't really care. I just need everyone to understand that they cannot go there. I get that I sound crazy, but my mind just needs a break, because if there is no more Paris, then there's no more it can take. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. I want no one there, not you, not me. Let it be overrun by French rats. Wait till Eric Adams hears about those. No one asked for it in the first place, but twixt Spain and Germany will be a blank space. This is my temper tantrum that people still go to France. Macron never stood a chance. Also, Paris killed Diana. I am the people's princess. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, so now that's actually worked out, and we can just never, ever talk about Paris ever again. Fiend. Sorry. I mean, end. But let's cut until after, right? After the place that shall not be named. I get back to New York, and you'd think at this point I would have stopped trying to have control, but I'm nothing if not ambitious. So I immediately opened up a dog sitting business because it just seemed like a good way to make money without talking to humans, which I should not be allowed to do. And overachieving fashion that I work in, I very quickly had a rotating cast of 5 dogs at a time in and out of my 200 square foot apartment. Quite the roster. Also, so sorry, just really quick, is my landlord here? Perfect. I once maxed out at 8 dogs. 8, 16 eyes, 31 legs. Poor scuppers. Not all dogs have 4 legs, okay? Check yourself. And my mom, therapist that she is, came over one day and she said, "You're manifesting the chaos of your mind into the chaos of your apartment through the dogs." Damn, okay, you win that one. Jesus. But she was right, of course. She was right, but I couldn't stop. I could never stop. I went to grad school because I couldn't stop. Now I have a degree I don't know how to use, but I'll put it on my wall. It'll look good there. And then my tics got really bad, right? Like my Tourette's. And then there was just this insane irony that like, oh, I don't have control over my face, right? Just that kind of thing. And throughout COVID, I spent a lot of time trying to control my body because it just seemed like that was something that no one could take away from me. Enter the Supreme Court. But, you know, throughout my life, I've gained weight and I've lost weight and all of that, but 18 years, my pediatrician, every health teacher I ever had, they all said the same thing to me. They all said, you know, they all showed me the healthy plate diagram, right? The end-all, be-all of health. And if you don't know the healthy plate diagram, I've actually got a copy of it right here. You kind of take a little look at that. And they all just said, if I could just win this, then I could fix my body, which needed fixing, I was told again and again. And then people would like me better, right? And the French would like me better. The French hate fat people. And Jews. And loud people. I don't know why I went. doctors are also so weird about the you need to lose weight conversation. They always start the same way. It's always, I don't care what your body looks like. I don't care what's going on outside. Okay? I care about what's going on inside. And that's fine. It's just a weird, underhanded way to sort of start the conversation by being like, I don't care that society finds you repulsive. No! I don't care. Would I fuck you? No. No, I wouldn't fuck you, but I don't care at all. And then they always end the same way, too. They always say this other thing. They go, everyone has a body. Good. I'm glad med school's paying off. That's perfect. But over COVID, I joined Weight Watchers because Oprah told me to. And when you sign up for Weight Watchers, you have to sign a waiver that says that you don't have any mental health issues that will be triggered by the program. And when I read that, I was like, I can control those. So I signed up, and I did lose some weight on Weight Watchers, but then I gained that back, and I gained more weight, because that is actually what always happens on Weight Watchers, right? Turns out that a program where you have to sign a waiver acknowledging that it won't work if you have any mental health illnesses might not be the best. Sort of like the army. I just wanted someone to give me something tangible I could do to win this. So I sent my poop to Arizona. So a diagnostic nutritionist could study it. The nutritionist actually lives in Ohio, but they don't accept Democrat poop there. So I sent it to Arizona, and she calls me, and I don't know what I wanted her to say. I think I wanted her to be like, I looked at your poop. Turns out believing in yourself is the key to success. What I didn't want her to say, that she said, was that I have a severe gluten intolerance that has been undiagnosed for 23 years, which means that everything I've eaten, the gluten has stripped it of its nutrients and filled my body with empty calories instead, and also just kind of ripped apart my insides in the process. Because that's just the queen shit that gluten does. It gluten girl bosses. And now people keep asking me, what have you noticed? What changes? What changes have you noticed since you've gone gluten-free? What have I noticed? I've noticed that gluten-free people are really fucking annoying. I've noticed that most gluten-free people are just rich, right? They don't have allergies, no. I went on a date with a guy a few months ago who had celiac, which means he's like a gold star gluten. And I thought it'd be good because we'd have this thing in common, right? We could talk about being gluten-free, because what the fuck else do gluten-free people talk about? But it wound up being just like a major ick. Because like, allergies are for girls. Like, what? Ew. Like, hot girls have stomach issues, little boys have tummy aches. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because men are supposed to go out and hunt, and then the women are supposed to be like, sorry, is this soy-free? Sorry, is this? You can't eat bread? What happened to men? So, but a really great thing about being gluten-free is that everyone pays attention to me. Like, whenever I go out to eat now with my friends, I have a lot of friends, we walk in, the waiter walks up to us, and he's like, I didn't have any food allergies. And everyone just looks at me and points. That's all I've ever wanted. That's all. And then so I say, yeah, gluten. That's how I say it, gluten. Because I'm a fragile baby bird that can't eat the breadcrumbs. And he writes it down in his little diary. And I'm like, God, he's writing about me? Like, does he like me? Like, what are we? Like, this is crazy. So back to when the nutritionist was kind of telling me all of this, she's telling me that basically it's going to take 6 months for my body to detox the gluten that is already in it, and then another 18 months for it to repair all of the damage that has already been done. So even if I do everything perfectly, I'm actually still fucked for the next 2 years. But I'm not hearing any of this, right? Because all I'm thinking is, I'm Britney Spears. And she's not gluten-free. But think about it. Both bogged down by systems we cannot control, oppressed by society in ways we cannot explain. Her, a victim of terrible abuse. Me, a victim of wheat. But now we're both freed, and I'm, well, gluten-freed. I mind traumas for a little joke. Where there's fire, I become the smoke. See, you can imagine what a gift it was when she said you're gluten-free. I'm asking why God me? Is this 'cause I asked to be quirky? Put down that baguette, which is now a threat, and pick up my new life. I'm born again tonight. I'm gluten-free, it's my new personality. Being gluten-free, people say it's good for my comedy. I don't have celiac, my Jewish tummy is just jacked. So now I'm gluten-free. That's right, I had 2 of them. All eyes on me, I ask the batherdy if they use a separate fryer. If the waiter asks, is it just a preference? I scream, do you think I'm a liar? You think I'd make this up for attention? Yeah, I would. Not this time though, I swear. But that was a good guess, okay. I can't drink beer to seem cool, so I cry tears in my wine. You say I am so brave, but I'm no hero, I'm just alive and not eating bread, which kind of makes me a martyr. I'm gluten-free, my friends see bread and cry for me. I'm gluten-free, people say they'd rather die than be me. I bring it up when you don't ask, or else I feel attacked. And now my whole identity is that I'm gluten-free. Let's break it down. I'm supposed to be so happy 'cause attention's all I want. But attention doesn't feed my soul like a gluten-filled croissant. I want attention but not pity. I'm allergic to when you care. You're looking for my feelings, but keep your eyes up here at the place where I can't eat gluten. But I don't want to talk about that. But I do want to talk about me. So let's go back to how kooky, quirky that I'm suddenly gluten-free. So now I'm gluten-free. You say sorry for your loss like I'm dead. But I'm just gluten-free like the Mother Teresa of bread. Celtic seltzer in a corner like a 2010 almond mom. And to all those gluten-able, check your white bread privilege. Pour out some toast for me and sing this psalm. I did call it a psalm, and I'm allergic to the crackers that they use for Jesus' body. Yeah, I'm allergic to Jesus now. How's that for going to hell? But now I'm gluten-free. The magic of theater. You didn't know I had 1 baguette, much less 2. How could you have ever known? But yeah, it turns out I was never in control. I was just delusional. I mean, I've so far directly compared myself to Britney Spears and Princess Diana. I'm so delusional that over COVID, I told my therapist that I was worried, genuinely, that the pandemic was going to take up too much space in my memoir. That no one had asked me to write, fewer to read. And she didn't seem very concerned. Point to her. But that wasn't going to stop me, right? No one asked me to write a 75-minute comedy show about my study abroad, but here we are. So I signed up for a memoir class, because you never know when the book deal is going to strike. And the teacher, let's call them Jessie, because it's a fake name and the show isn't their fault. Jessie asked us to think of some turning points in our lives and write about those. And I was thinking about, Paris and the moment in the London airport. But then I thought of the story that brought like tears to my eyes in a Zoom memoir class. And that story is the story of my parasocial relationship with Taylor Allison Swift. Allison with 2 L's, thank you. Taylor Swift is my parasocial relationship to end all parasocial relationships. And if you don't know what a parasocial relationship is, congratulations, you're a happy, healthy person. No need to brag. But a parasocial relationship is when you think that a celebrity knows you or loves you, or maybe it's your biological mother. I don't know, we're just both natural blondes. But Taylor does care about me because she spoke at my college graduation. Fine. A college graduation that I was sure was going to be canceled because everything else was, but it wasn't, and she came, and she even wore a matching outfit with me. We took a picture together. That's really sweet. You can't tell because the perspective, he was just kind of standing far away. It's together. So Tay-Tay's giving her speech about how she filmed a love story music video on a college campus because she always dreamed of going to college and falling in love, and instead she's a billionaire, so that's hard. But she stops and she says, but I shouldn't complain about not having a normal college experience to you because you went to NYU during a global pandemic. I imagine all you wanted was a normal college experience too. I had gone so long with, we're all in this together, and you always make the best of it, and it could be worse, that I had started to believe, yeah, maybe this doesn't matter. Maybe I should just shut the fuck up. But Taylor fucking Swift, sorry, Dr. Taylor fucking Swift, knew. She knew that this bad thing had happened. Not the worst thing, I got it, but this bad thing, and she thought that it mattered. And up until that moment, between when I got to Paris and that moment, no one had just said, yeah, that sucks, and it matters. So I'm saying all this in my memoir class, and Jesse asked me, what themes are you seeing coming up? And I was like, I don't know, loss of control, outside perception, and they were like, yeah, for sure, and loneliness. That's so crazy, because I didn't say loneliness. Because I was there, and Taylor Swift was there. So that's 2 people, right? And they were like, no, sorry, just if I were to look at you objectively as a character, that character would be lonely. And it was weird, because just a few weeks before that, my nutritionist had said that she prayed for me. That's how I felt. And I had noticed that she wore a cross necklace on Zoom, but I live in New York. Everyone wears a cross necklace, ironically, right? I forgot about Ohio. So she said, I pray that you're not lonely. Oh! What a weird, kooky, quirky thing to say to someone who has ever not once considered themselves to be lonely. And I dismissed it, right? I told all my friends, I said, listen to what this crazy Christian has to say. And they were like, yeah, that does sound crazy and like something you're not wanting to reflect on right now. And Jesse is giving me grammar corrections on this essay that's ruined my life. And my mind is just spinning because fuck, yeah, I guess I am lonely, right? I guess that's what happens when you grow up being rewarded for being independent and self-sufficient, so you learn not to ask for help. And then you seek mentorship from memoir writing teachers you don't really know, and from international pop stars that speak at your graduation, and you don't know how to just have vulnerable conversations with people closest to you, because that might break the illusion that you have everything together and under control. Sorry, that was actually about me. If that wasn't clear. Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page with that one. Today I found out everyone thinks I'm lonely, and I'm crying, so I guess it's probably true. My therapist says that they might not really know me, And he's nice to think there's any chance I do. Every day I find a new way my parents screwed up. But you break it, you buy it, so they still pay my bills. And I shouldn't complain about the way I grew up. 'Cause now I've got all these jokes that kill. My therapist is later, he's a recurring theme in this. No one told me, 'cause they thought I knew I didn't. Now I've got all this new shit to work through. 3, 4, 5. So I was wrong about myself, and a Christian told me how I carry along. And what comedian has ever been happy? Mask your feelings in something snappy. Thought I was just dying slowly. But it turns out that I'm lonely. Surprise. Today I found out everyone thinks I'm okay. And I guess I can see why it looks like that. I have a witty comeback for whatever you say. So no one knows what I'm holding back. 17 years of improv is quite the defense mechanism. I'm not lonely just because I cook for one. I'm not lonely just because I think puzzles are fun, and I have a system, you're gonna mess it up. I'm not lonely just because I'm alone. My self-help book says that mentality means I've grown. My therapist deserves another raise for acting interested in all of my cliches. But he does have his MFA in acting from NYU Tisch. So we have the same disease. So I laugh as I scroll through my own TikTok and Twitter. I go down this path that keeps leading me back to Tinder, and it's only myself I hinder. I think if you look closely, I might be kind of lonely. And all I have to say at the end of the day is it's occurred to me that no one really knows anyone, and I've made the human condition all about me, and I've considered that this feeling of debilitating loneliness is just a part of being in my early 20s, but that doesn't help, and I'll never tell. I just put these feelings up on a shelf. That's why I have so many tchotchkes. And I don't mean to hurt all my friends. They tell me they love me again and again. But they just don't really know me, which makes me kind of lonely. So here you go. I hope this is what you wanted. I can only be this honest in a show where you're a dark room and I have the microphone, but I'll still take this milestone. What growing up has shown me is I've always been lonely. We're gonna come back up, but not right away. But not right away. No, because this will make you guys more anxious than it'll make me, so I have to solve it. Okay, I win. The first thing I wrote down after this Zoom memoir class was, what if I'm lonely without Paris? You know, and that's how you know I've lost the plot, because up until this point I had not considered that. I thought that I was Taylor Swift and Paris was my Kanye, because he's also anti-Semitic. But shocker, I also had a parasocial relationship with Paris, the city in Europe, small country off the coast of Asia. Anyone? No? That's fine. But people keep telling me that that's not how people feel. That people don't feel lonely because of cities. That this can't be how someone feels, how a person feels, right? Can a character? Because it seems like I'm a little bit more palatable as a character. Because as a person, I'm just kind of insane, right? And like, maybe a little stupid. a little bit at this point, right? I mean, that's why I did a comedy show, right? Because it's easy for you to laugh at this ridiculous character, right? Because you would feel bad if you realized that you had been laughing for 45 minutes at someone who was like, just being honest. People don't feel like that. It just seems like no one I know knows me, which is obviously why I'm lonely, right? And now I don't have control to keep me company, right? And it just feels like the last person that knew me was Paris, right? That maybe Paris has the key to how to finally fix this and how I can finally win myself. So in August of 2023, I went back to Paris. I went back to Paris for 24 hours because I'm that fucking dramatic. It was on the tail end of a trip that I took to Edinburgh in Scotland, and a few weeks before I'd asked my therapist if he thought I would survive going back to Paris, and he said, well, yeah. They have oxygen. Okay, point to him. I didn't tell anyone I was going to Paris because I didn't know if I was. My OCD was already strangling me for going back to Europe, the land of lost control and architecture. I went the whole week in Edinburgh not knowing if I was going to go to Paris. But then I met this Australian woman, and she asked me, if I was going to go anywhere else in Europe. And I said, oh, I might go to Paris for like a day. So I did my study abroad there, and then, I actually got kind of cut off because, so I watched a Lizzie McGuire movie when I was 3, and then so I actually just decided, I was like, you know what, I should just probably do the whole show for you, and I did that. And then at the end, I was like, so, should I go back to Paris? And this also happened. And I just know that it's going to make everyone else more anxious, is the truth. Just let me know. But I said, should I go back to Paris? And she looked at me and she said, yar, why not? Which is Australian. For yeah, why not? 6 languages. It's pretty awesome. Yar, why not? Yeah, why not? 3 words that had never crossed through my mind before. Why not go back to this city that I've built a personality around hating, that I wrung my brother out for going to 2 months before? Be a way to end the show. Yeah, why not? My new philosophy. Thanks, Australia. So I booked a flight. Well, I should also say that, before I booked that flight, I had this overwhelming feeling one night at Edinburgh that I just wanted to have a glass of wine in Paris without feeling like the world was going to end. Because I didn't get that in 2020. So I booked a flight for 5 a.m. the next day, and I canceled my last night at Edinburgh, and I booked a hotel near the meat locker bar so I could go there and be moody before I went to sleep. And I sat at a pub that night in Edinburgh, and I wrote this in my journal. I wrote, I think I feel a lot of pressure for it to mean something. Like the success of the trip looks like sobbing on Saint Germain, like otherwise it wasn't worth it. I don't know why I don't want to tell anyone. Maybe I want a secret I have control over. Maybe I want to piss people off so I can tell them that it's none of their business and we're not all in this together. Same fucking shit I had always done. So yar. Why not? I did tell my dog sitter. She's also my very good friend, but she gets mad when I call her my dog sitter. So I'm gonna do that. I told my dog sitter because 1, I'm a mother of a dog. But 2, I have a mother who is a human. And I knew that once I eventually told her that I went back to Paris in secret, which is happening right now, I needed to be able to tell her that somebody knew in case I died, so that she wouldn't kill me. But yeah, so here is a picture of me in Paris. I didn't take any pictures at any of the tourist sites. You can't really take selfies in Paris. It's very gauche. It's a different place. I also knew that I was going to reveal this at this show or never at all because I don't know how to have a vulnerable moment of sharing. So here's this, right? And I walked around and I found NYU Paris, which is just one building versus how in New York they own the air that we breathe. And I sat at a cafe where I could see NYU, and I could see where I used to get lunch, and I could see this croissant place that I never tried, and now I couldn't because I was fucking gluten-free in Paris, city of bread. And I sat at that cafe, and I grieved. And I didn't cry, because you can't do that in Paris. They'll behead you. I checked. But I grieved. And I wrote a song, dramatically, at a cafe in a notebook in Paris. And it's going to sound like a sad love song, but it's not about Pierre. It's about Paris, the city that doesn't have a consciousness, and yet owns mine. So I've gone 3 years without you, talked to nothing and no one, 'cause they'll never know me like you did. In your winding roads I found forgotten parts of myself. Do you recognize me now that I'm not a kid? I hate that you erased, you wrote a new world without you, one in which I had the strength to live. I needed to forget you, tell myself that I regret you after I gave you all I had to give. So who am I now that this story's over? You said goodbye without any closure, and I swore you off, cut you out, told myself that you did me wrong. But what if you missed me all along? I was a moth to a flame, and you're the city of lights. You blinded me from who I am. On top of the world, still afraid of heights, free falling while you change the plan. And maybe I stay alone now, 'cause I can't leave myself, but if I could, I'd run as fast as I can. And I left my heart with you in the city of love, and I wonder if you gave a damn. So who am I now that this story's over? You said goodbye without any closure, and I swore you off and cut you out and told myself that you did me wrong. But what if you missed me all along? Now I come back and you're still standing. I feel small and like a ghost of my past. People walk around me through this graveyard of memories, and I hate that you're making them laugh. I beg you, is it over yet? Was that the one shot that I get? Never forgive, but I'll try to forget. The idea of you is my biggest regret. So who am I city, a song, hoping that it missed me all along. I walked around that day for 13 miles, which is like 3,000 kilometers. I don't know, I never learned the translation. I just walked around from place to place just wanting it to work, wanting it to fix me. But I'd come for a glass of wine, and they have that. So I sat down somewhere and I ordered a glass, and I just took in the sweet smells of Paris, secondhand smoke and pretension. And I went back and forth, still delusional on one hand, wondering if Paris was sad that I left and I shouldn't have been so mad. But on the other hand, like remembering I didn't have a good time here, right? It was just somewhere that I tried to get control and couldn't. And then the third option, the scariest option, was that if Paris really was just a place, and I am just a person, then maybe things just don't work out sometimes. Because if that's true, and no one had control, because no one could have had control, so I couldn't really blame anyone, and maybe all my pediatrician knew to do was show me the healthy plate diagram, and maybe I just had OCD because I just had Tourette's, and I probably can't blame gluten for everything, even though it would be easier, right? Because if all of that is true, then maybe the world just happens. And then what the fuck am I supposed to do from there? I wish I could say it's easy for me to not have control, right? That since then I've let go and I've embraced change and c'est la vie, but that's not true. Right? Because I kept this secret for 10 months that I took a vacation. And I constructed a 90-minute show and charged you all money to find out that I took a vacation. And everyone I've had to tell, right? My therapist, my dog sitter, everyone that's helped me with this show, I have manically sworn them to secrecy while they wondered if they missed what the secret was. When I got home, I told my dog sitter, my very good friend who's kept the secret for 10 months, I said to my dog sitter, I said, I went to Paris, you can't tell anyone. She was like, Jesus, what did you do in Paris? I walked around for 3,000 kilometers and I journaled. What? She was like, okay. Are you not allowed in Paris? Are you on a list? No, I'm allowed in Paris. Okay. So you just need me to not tell anyone something that no one's going to ask about or care about. And I was like, yeah, perfect. Also, can you tell in the background of this photo that this is the tip of the Eiffel Tower? Because I want to post it with my photos from Scotland. And then in 10 months when I do this show, I can be like, I planted an Easter egg because I'm Taylor Swift. Should have scrolled to the end. Should have scrolled to the 10th picture on that. No. I get back to Paris and, it shows me like it's not easy to give up control, right? But I am doing it, right? Which is not something that I have let myself see before. And I can honestly stand up here and admit that I was wrong, right? I was wrong that I had to go to Paris, and I was wrong that going back would fix me. I was wrong to go into that meat locker, but I was also wrong to push Pierre away when I did. I've been wrong every time I've said that I know myself and what I want. When I was 21, I said to my therapist, also every time I've mentioned a therapist, it has been a different person. They keep winning. But I said to this therapist that I was terrified, that I thought that I was so self-aware, but in reality, I didn't know myself at all, and there was no way to know. I was right. Yay. I wish I could say that it's easy, but it's not because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Which is a stupid thing to say, because you all knew that an hour ago. But I know that I can't do this Paris shit anymore, right? And I'm actually going to allow you all to talk about it again, because I went back and I survived, like my therapist said. Match point him, gotta find a new one. And if I said I was mad at you, we're good, you know. Maybe you're mad at me now. Write a solo show, I don't know. My therapist mom has also always said that the only thing to do when you don't know what to do is to just keep moving. Because no one knows what the fuck they're doing. That's life. Wait a second. That's life. Where have I heard that before? Oh, I know. I said it an hour ago in French. C'est la vie. I guess I'm out of plans and I've shown you on my hand, but c'est la vie. I guess it took an hour to forgive the Eiffel Tower and say c'est la vie. I wish I could say it's easy and that life is fine and breezy, but that's still not me. But c'est la vie. That's life, the clock keeps moving. It's all improv that's improving, and it changes on the count of 3. C'est la vie. I could say my glass is half full of wine, and all of this works out in time, but I hate toxic positivity. So I'll say, c'est la vie. Also, most standard wine glasses holds a whole bottle, so fill her up. Thought my enemy was Paris, now I'm kind of embarrassed, but c'est la vie. And I can't win my 20s, but $1's made of pennies, so c'est la vie. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to grad school, but c'est la vie. Thought if I didn't have control, then I wouldn't know my role, and that was too scary, but c'est la vie. That's life, the cookie crumbles, and damn it, I was humbled when the cookie wound up gluten-free. C'est la vie. I'm glad I have you gathered to say nothing really matters, and sometimes life is just crappy, but we'll say c'est la vie. I just want to clear up, it's not that I don't give a fuck, though sometimes I wish that were true. It's just if I'm gonna be wrong, I might as well carry along and do the things that I want to do. And if none of this ages well, 'cause I was wrong again, oh well, at least I've spent this time with you. Aww. And I'll admit before goodbye, I think I want to be a rabbi, 'cause then I would know God, 'cause I would be God. But that's another solo show. So sing with me before I go. It's a sing-along. C'est la vie. I can't claim to know what I want, but I know it's not a croissant. No, merci. C'est la vie. That's all I have to say. I know I'm lost, but I'm on my way, just like Lizzie. COVID stopped time, so I'm still 14. I mean, I was 20 when it happened, but I've clearly regressed. Everybody say la vie again. Say la vie one more time. Say la vie. Okay, just me now. Say la vie. Thank you all. Thank you. My director over here, thank you to her. And thank you to Caveat. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you all being here. C'est la vie. All right.